Hey, great. The last digit of the like for each is someone from the chalk playground. So go down right now, click like, click subscribe, click the bell, look at the screen, pay attention to the last digit of your like and compare these facts. And who are you? Write about it in the comments. It's simple. For example, if you are a marshmallow, then I write marshmallow. Everything is cool, enjoy watching it. And great, dear friends, you're on the Melancholy channel. In this video, we'll talk about new syringes in the chalk playground. But before the start of the video, as always, I want to say a huge thank you to these guys for getting into my video, and if you want to get into my next video, then you just need to subscribe to the channel, put a like, write your top comment, and don't forget to subscribe to the cart. The link is as always in description. In general, I will not drag out your time and enjoy your viewing. And it's been a long time since the last time syringes were changed in any way. And to be honest, I would like this topic to be promoted a little bit again, because as always, those items that are not updated for a long time, they are basically forgotten. And for myself personally, I would like to suggest some changes. And if the developers hear me, suddenly it happens, then I hope they will take this into account and still take my idea. Well, if not, then there is no trial, as they say. To begin with, I would like to change the physics of syringes a little. As you remember, we have the ability to pour liquid inside the hammer into the ground like this, when, as it is now in syringes, we seem to have a static image inside the syringe, which, to be honest, is simply not interesting. And how cool it would be for me if we simply added liquid inside the syringe so that it shimmered and, in principle, it all looked more beautiful. After all, as for me, syringes are still used quite often, although syringes have not been popular in principle or hype as such for a long time, because they are now used, although often, but few people talk about them. And first of all, I would like to add a new physics of syringes. How do you like this idea? I think it's pretty cool, because now it looks kind of clumsy and, in principle, not very, because the game is developing, does not stand still, and I think that such an important item as a syringe should still be updated. And I still suggest adding 5 new syringes, which, as for me, looks very cool in the world of the chalk background and somehow did not jump out of its concept. And the first syringe is an explosion syringe. Are you going to think that I'm talking? But really, as for me, an explosion syringe would be very cool. Just imagine, it will look like this. You inject this Mayan syringe and every time it comes into contact with an object, it starts to explode. This adds a huge amount of content. That is, watch if you want to make, say, a mini-movie or just work out nonsense in the world of the Mayan ground. You take a new car, a new Jeep, and drive at full speed into this Milo, who is already infected with this syringe, and he starts exploding very abruptly when he comes into contact with the Jeep. As for me, this is a very cool idea. To be honest, it really added some action to the world of chalk playground. What do you think about it? Write in the comments. And as for me, it is this color and, in principle, this texture that he fully deserves to see in himself. So this is a really cool idea and a cool syringe, as for me. But write your opinion in the comments, because really, as for me, syringes are actually not enough for this period of time. And the second syringe is a jumping syringe. Remember we had a new bomb on the ballot? As they said, she was some kind of jumping or something like that. And in principle, it's not that it has anything to do with that bomb, but if the developers have already added at least some semblance of jumping, and this is a new physical phenomenon in the game. That is, look, our swords have jumping ability, new items there are tennis balls, basketball, and so on, then in principle it would be cool if they added such a property to Milo, but as a syringe. I'll explain what I mean now. He will get a pink color like this, that's how I associate this color with jumping. Let's say you take out this syringe and now we have a Milo that becomes bouncy. And of course he is not afraid of heights in any way. It's just that you throw him off from a great height and he starts jumping like this. As for me, this is really also a very cool idea and, in principle, it is not so difficult to implement, because there are already properties of bounciness in balls and so on. And to assign this property to just one syringe, I think it's not the most difficult idea. Well, as for me, they will add this incredible amount of content. What do you think about it? Write in the comments. Well, the third syringe has this color. It's a gravity syringe. In principle, it is not worth explaining for a long time here, because in principle it is clear what gravity is and there is nothing complicated here. And now when you inject a syringe into Milo, now he doesn't have any gravitational properties, he just becomes weightless. Not only is it useful in space, because now Melon behaves SOSO in space, but it will just be additional interesting content. What do you think about it? Write in the comments. As for me, this is a really good syringe with suitable properties. The fourth syringe has such an interesting gray color, and this is the syringe of the outhouse. As for me, to be honest, it will be the most boring, and to be honest, I doubted whether to add it here to this list to these colorful interesting syringes, because we also have an interesting syringe next, which I also came up with, of course me. These are all concepts, guys, so don't scold me for this in the comments. This is not a clickbait, these are really syringes invented by me, just in the form of concepts. So, a sleeping pill syringe, what properties does it have? Accordingly, it has such a gray color, simply because it is the most boring, and that's why I assigned it this particular color. When you introduce him to Milo, then Milo falls asleep accordingly, but he does not die, it is important to note. And when you contact him again, he respectively wakes up from waking up, or he can wake up from any time, let's say arbitrary. Let's say in 3, 5, 7 minutes. And it would be fun to assign a timer to this syringe. Let's say you set a timer for 8 minutes, enter it into Milo, and after 8 minutes he wakes up. This idea is very good for me, and what do you think about it? Write in the comments, because it's really a cool property, a cool syringe, although in fact it fades a little compared to what it was before. Well, the last, fifth syringe has such a colorful, interesting color. It's a hallucinogen syringe. I also doubted whether to add it here to this list, because it already has some properties of narcotic substances. But what is the trick of this syringe? When you inject this syringe into the melanoma, it becomes simply inadequate, it begins to convulse, it begins to create all sorts of game, in general, to show some emotions, as with narcotic substances. Unfortunately, I do not know how much this will have a positive impact on the world of chalk background, simply because it is possible that he will be assigned the 18+ button. Because of this, sales of this game will decrease. Therefore, to be honest, I doubt very much that, in principle, it will ever add. Well, as if to me it's really a very good, cool syringe, because now Melon basically lacks some kind of emotional awakening, some kind of emotional coloring, because he's always static, boring. In general, even when he looked at you on the 1st of April, this is at least some kind of dilution of boring content in the form of chalk, because he looked at you and you felt uncomfortable, let's say, and this is the awakening of some emotional colors in your head. Therefore, a syringe of hallucinogens, it seems to me, would be a very cool option, just at least to indulge for a couple of times, why not? Of course, it was later forgotten, but in the first period of time it would have been just a killer feature. These are the syringes and the properties I gave them. What do you think? Write in the comments. To be honest, I think it's very interesting. Well, this is where my video comes to an end. Thank you all for watching, good luck to everyone, so far, and I remember my friend, as always, I'll see you one of these days.